Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's show. My name is Dan Smith with LendingPad, and I have it's my pleasure to welcome two of our great clients on the show. We have Jamie Cavanaugh from AmeriFund and Tom Ahles from Edge. Welcome, everyone. Today is going to be a little bit different. We want to talk about success and leadership, and we want to talk about these two great companies. Jamie and Tom will give their insight on what has brought them to this place in the industry, and also a look ahead at the next phases for their shops and the next phase of success. And then I also want to talk a little bit about them, their own stories, and from a personal leadership standpoint, what they have to share for everyone. So thank you again, everyone. With that, let me just dive right into it. And Jamie, I'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about AmeriFund.
Yeah, so AmeriFund, my partner Brad Rice and I have been working together on and off for the better part of 25 years. And about 2.5 years ago, I said to Brad, I think it's time to grow. We had previously grown a very large wholesale and retail operation before the crash, boots on the ground in 43 states, selling direct to Wall Street, 300 and something employees. It was a ride, an incredible ride. And we wanted our journey to look very different this time around. We wanted to grow with extreme intention, and we knew exactly the kind of model we wanted to build, which is one of complete end-to-end support and a unique fit for every loan officer. And so when I said to him, I think it's time, he said, go for it, girlfriend. So we did. Got a lot of multi-state licensing under our belts and adding some team members to the team and really building a community and a culture here that we're very proud of and we're very excited about. My personal journey is really one of, my mom was a real estate agent. So I grew up in this business. I mean, we're talking open houses on the weekends as a kid, right? Helping pass out flyers and stopping on the corner and putting out those open house signs. And, then when I got into college, I took an LOA role at a local company and kind of started to sink my teeth into the mortgage industry. And fast forward 28 something years, tried to really learn every seat. I wanted to understand how the sausage was made, because my belief is that if you understand how the process works, then you can help empower every person in every seat in it to help people help more people. And that's really what we're all about.
No, that's really, really well said. And congrats on the success, Jamie. You like you said, you want to understand it, and you started, from boots on the ground hustle position, and have really, been able to enjoy the growth that you've seen. Tell us what are some of the factors from the AmeriFund side that have sets you apart? Like what are some of the things that distinguish AmeriFund?
Yeah, I think it's really the fact that we have a unique solution for everybody. We look at the whole person when we bring loan officers into the company. And so, for example, I have individual coaching calls with the majority of my loan officers, and those coaching calls look different for every single person. We're talking about their personal goals. We're talking about their professional goals. We're talking about short term. We're talking about the long game, and we're creating roadmaps for them that show them where to start, because one of the biggest challenges in our industry as a whole is really a lack of guidance, a lack of training, and a lack of structure. So for those loan officers who aren't brand new to the business, but who are maybe a year or two in, they've done a little, they want to do more, they feel overwhelmed, they don't know where to begin, we're taking a very hands-on approach with a very flat organization where we invest personally in each person's success. And I think that that's really the thing that has built this community that we have, where people help each other constantly. Tom has the same giver's gain mentality. We've talked about it a lot. And I think that when you show the way and you live those virtues, you create more people in your team, in your community that do exactly the same. And the goal really is to wrap our arms around every member of our team and make them feel like they're a part of something.
That's great. That's great. You're investing in your people. Thank you, Jamie. Tom, tell us about Edge.
Yeah, Jamie covered a lot of it. I mean, for both of us, we're both in a people business. Whether you're being a loan officer and I'm trying to get a real estate agent to trust me, or I'm trying to grow my company, or even our association here, right? This is about personal connection. So for me, it has always been about how do we amplify what each one of our sphere of influence is? How do we educate those around us to help them? Now, when Edge was started 2011, just full transparency, we never planned on growing to the conglomerate that we are. I think what happens is that good people attract good people. And when you look at what's happening, it's not to say that retail's bad, but there's a lot of people that are coming to the broker channel. So I think we have some really good people here, especially in AIME, right? If I look, and Jamie and I had a quick conversation before, like, Jamie, how are things going? It's going all right. Well, she's still growing to where she added 25% more than last year. Like, but the mentality is, no, like, I don't care if their number was 300%, the answer is going to be the same. And those are the types of people, one, that we look for in our own organization. But to me, why I'm so passionate about serving with AIME is because I get to meet others that are like not okay with being average, right? And I would say the same for you in LendingPad, right? It comes down to, how are we always trying to advance and become not only better leaders, better loan officers, better processors, always focused on, we are in a relationship-based business. If I want to be better, it's not that I can learn more guidelines. It's not that I can learn more business tools. But what I can learn is, how do I have deeper relationships? How do I make sure that I'm leading with transparency, right? And I think one of the questions that was asked is like, hey, what differentiates you? Well, I like a true broker model. I really love the broker channel itself. There are, I think I'm the only one, to be honest with you, definitely in the top 20 that operate that way, meaning I don't have correspondent lines. I like it that way. Now, could I make more money? Maybe. Is it saying that people that do it are doing it to take advantage of loan officers? No, not at all. It's a different model. I like to be able to be an example, right? I want to be an example for those that are looking to transition from retail to wholesale and say, hey, could I open up a brokerage and make this work? Can I deliver a level of experience that's going to create a referable experience, which is something that we always focus on. As a team, we call it CARE. It's a simple acronym. Everything that we're doing, we should be creating a referable experience. And Jamie knows this. She still is on the front lines from time to time originating because she cares. What's the goal in that, right? The goal is to make sure that, when you're done with that transaction, nobody cares about the rate. Nobody's going to care about if your closing costs were $10,000 cheaper than retail. We need to get better as a community and as a company myself, where our focus coming into 2025, how do we make sure that people know how much we care, right? Yeah. What are we doing to make sure that every deal, when we're done with it, that they're an advertiser for us, right? They're going out and screaming. You've had clients, I'm sure, Dan, with LendingPad, or Jamie with your business, where you get those cheerleaders behind you because you connected with them. The deal doesn't matter anymore. There's a level of trust, and there's a level of, I want to help that person more than I want to help myself. And to me, we finally have elevated our game in the broker channel to where we can deliver that at a high level and scale it for not only those that choose to join us, join the broker channel. I want what's best for people, right? I'm not a very self-serving person from that standpoint. So the growth that Edge has experienced personally is astonishing, right? I still am shocked to this day that we've grown where we're at based on simple core fundamentals of being honest, being transparent, and truly caring. Like Jamie said with the company, why is she successful? They want to wrap their arms around people. That's not something you say to somebody that, hey, I just want to make a couple $100. It's I really want to help them. And that's what drives, when I lay my head on the pillow at the end of the night, did I accomplish my goal? And my goal isn't always about making an extra dollar, adding another loan officer, closing another loan. It's how did I make the people feel that are around me? Do they know that they have somebody that they can trust, that they can lean on during hard times? And that's going to help them, also with some transparent conversations, because in leadership, not everything is blue skies and butterflies, right? We got a lot of tough conversations you have to have sometime and say, hey, listen, if your production isn't where it is, we need to pull out the mirror and we need to look and see, what is it that you're doing? What is it, the activities that yield to production are you spending your time on? And kind of go all over the board with that, Dan, but when you ask me, like, what is it about Edge? It's not Edge. The people, right? We employ roughly 1,500 people that I treat as partners that are self-employed that run their business. Now, They're all W-2'd. Once again, I want longevity. I'm in the great state of Minnesota where sometimes that's required, but we're nationwide. But I want the longevity of it. I'm not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere, and neither are you, Dan. So
no, great answers, both of you. And you can't fake passion, and clearly you have it. You both. I know you both, and the commonality is people. The differences are your models, right? You have different models. You said that, but you both have been wildly successful with different models. But you have people, at the core of it, at the front of it, and LendingPad is honored, to count both of you as clients and to be able to grow with you. And we're not a perfect vendor, and no one's perfect, but I would say what resonates with me as you describe it is that really the same sort of threads that each of you kind of spoke on, the communication, the people, investing in our people. We prioritize our support folks, for example. We hold them in very high esteem, and it bears itself out. We're the number one ranked support in G2, Capterra, 96% satisfaction. We're constantly talking, how do we drive that higher? For us, my boss, who's our CEO and founder, Wes Ewan, he owned a mortgage company, right? He did that directly. Then he owned a bank and took it out of conservatorship to be $1 billion plus, bank that was the fastest growing in the Northeast. And so earned his stripes, in the lending community, but he is a builder. He's a technologist. He's a programmer. And so really he sets the tone for us. And as we've grown many times over the last few years, even, just this year, we've grown tremendously as well. It is because, number one, we value people as well, and we're not taking shortcuts, and we have great clients like you all. And so I want to pivot for a minute and just talk about, for each of you, the next phases, right? So you've gotten to a tremendous amount of success at this point. And I know some of the answers, of course, going to be continue to invest in your people, right? That's so evident. And I think that's number one. What are maybe, if you have a couple of other items or some other things you might want to share, I'm sure the audience, the AIME audience here would love to know kind of what's next here for AmeriFund, what's next for Edge.
Yeah, I think for us, you can't emphasize the importance of fostering the people you have enough, because while we always want to be growing, and like Tom says, like, okay, what's next? It's never, never stop ever. But at the same time, how can you help the people you have win? And I think that the way that you do that is that you stay with them as we round out this year, and you make sure that they're prepared. You make sure that this is the time that they're tightening up all those processes. You make sure, and Tom hit it on the head. What is the highest and best use of a loan officer's time? You're busy, but what are you busy with? And I challenged somebody on my team just the other day. They're very involved in a particular nonprofit in their area. And I said, that is amazing. And I hope you continue to do that forever. But you mentioned that you're too busy to sit down and come up with a business roadmap because you're busy doing that. So let me ask you this question. How does that activity impact your business? And the answer was, well, indirectly. And I said, well, how many leads? There's no room. Renee Rodriguez says that there's no room for like stories and excuses in the box of what are the results. And I say this because some of this coaching process is a little bit of tough love and a lot of education, because there is not a roadmap that anybody has created in this industry that is out to the masses. And so to be able to sit down with individuals and look at where they're spending their time and say, look, Tom's done it. We've done it. We've been top producing originators. We know what the recipe is. Here's where you're not measuring correctly. Here's where you're spending your time that's detrimental to you. And here's how you can rebalance your time to make sure that when you lay your head on the pillow every night, like Tom said, have you put time into each and everything that contributes to your goals? And part of why I love being a part of AIME is the fact that all of us who have been on this journey in this industry and have reached some goals that we had set out for ourselves, it's not just about my team members. It's about our whole community, because in my opinion, every single person in our community needs and deserves the roadmap and the formula and the recipe and the plan to help them know where to begin.
Yeah, it's responsibility. And when you say community, that becomes a responsibility. It's a great answer. Tom, what say you about the next phase?
2025, I think we have challenges every year, right? There are things that we can control and there are things that we cannot. Our goal for 2025 is to control the controllables. And I think for a lot of us, there are things that we can't control that we spend too much time worrying about, right? What's going to happen with the new regime of leadership in the United States? I don't know. I don't control it, right? So what can I control? I can control the work ethic. I can control the consistency. One of the things that Jamie said that speaks to me is like, hey, we've all been there as top producing originators. Why? How? I can tell you it breaks down pretty simple. Consistency, right? Are you consistent and are you working every day? And to me, it was something that there was a gentleman, one of our blender partners, he was speaking about this and he was like, the day before you leave on vacation, that day before, you got to get everything done. How much work do you get done in that day compared to not, right? Yeah. I want to try to approach 2025 in a way that, one, I'm controlling the controllables, right? Yeah. I can control my work ethic. I can control where my time is focused on and how can I be more efficient. So not only that, I think 2025 is going to be a year of compliance for mortgage brokers, okay? It's not something that people probably, I'm going to be honest, it sucks, right? I don't really, as a broker, that's part of why I chose to be a broker, right? I didn't need to necessarily be so hands-on, TRID requirements, everything else, because the lender's handling it, right? Well, guess what, right? The broker market share has grown to 26, 27%. We're financing 1 out of 4 homes in the country. Get ready, right? Because it's coming. And, so for me, it's like, okay, how do we tighten up? We're no longer the mom and pop shops to where using the example that, well, we're a small broker, the lender's going to take care of it. You're going to be out of business. And it's not going to be because you don't have a good system and you're not working properly. It's going to be because you weren't paying attention to the things that we knew existed, right? I don't know if you've ever had those to me, if I have something I didn't do or something that's bothering me, I'm kind of not at ease with myself as a person, right? And it's been that way for a while for me on the broker side. As far as hey, from a compliance standpoint, what are the answers to this, right? I'll just give an example. Borrower paid, right? What's the answer, right? I got a lot of opinions. I got a lot of things, but there hasn't been much clarity. And I think, one, I look at things from a glass half full perspective. We're going to get some clarity in 2025, but that also means that you're probably going to have to pivot a little bit, right? You're going to have to pivot to run your business with a fiduciary responsibility from a compliance standpoint. Are you taking control over the things that are clearly listed on what needs to be done from a compliance standpoint, right? To me, we've got the hiring part down. I think with the masses it becomes easier, right? When I was 1, it was harder to get to 5 than what it was to get from 1,000 to 1,500, right? Much harder, right? Sure. So we've accomplished that goal from a growth perspective. We're still going to keep our foot on the gas, but I don't need to reinvent that wheel. It's working, it's invented. We have that part down. My focus and our team's focus for 2025, how do we withstand not the storm of the market, the storm of compliance that's coming? And how do we make sure that when that storm comes through, we're still standing, right? So to me, that's my goal for 2025. Besides the obvious, which, where's it at? Right there, 5,000 personal goals, right? 5,000 transactions a month. So we're shooting for that, right? At about 2,000 right now. So always have short term, medium, you have your big hairy goal, something that's, you want to accomplish, but maybe it's a little out of sight. That's my big hairy goal, wherever it's at right there. However, focus for 2025 for me is going to be longevity. Then with longevity comes compliance. One of the things that are not fun, right? You've been working with our team. I can state this specifically with LendingPad. We've been talking about this a lot, right? You've met with my partners like, hey, we need rules in effect that are a little tighter than where they were before. We need some things to where you guys have been a great partner. If we need something, guess what happens? We have you and your leadership team on a call and things are getting done, right? So I will ask those that are watching this call this year, if compliance isn't on your radar for 2025 and tightening things up, try again, right? Because it should be something that you need to take serious.
Great answers. And, just to maybe pull a few things out, right? I mean, it's you talk about control, what you can control. It's the sphere of influence, right? And that you do, and I love the notion of consistency as well. I just to make the analogy, right? People ask, well, what's better? Lots of, I'll use a weightlifting example, right? Lightweight, lots of reps, or heavyweight, few reps. The answer is just be consistent, right? And that's what it is. And so that applies to all aspects of our life: personal goals, family, 100%. Health, absolutely work. And I like the short term, big picture. And I will say, and thank you for the kind words as well. I mean, LendingPad is not a cut the corners. We're multiple years of investment. You can't fake it. But you can control what you can control, and then be able to pivot. And there's a moral compass to all of this, right? It's how you treat people, how you do business, and the long-term goals will come to fruition. I have no doubt. I see nothing but green pastures ahead. Jamie, Tom, for both of you, I know we have an exciting times ahead. Let's have a great 2025. I want to wrap this up, I want to thank AIME for the partnership, for the opportunity to speak on these sorts of things. And know we'll have more things to say and other topics to explore. But thank you to the AIME group, Jamie, Tom. Really appreciated being with you. Enjoyed it immensely. For folks that do have questions, you can reach out to the AIME member portal or info@aimegroup.com. You can also, on the LendingPad side, if folks want to learn more about us, you can certainly reach out to sales@lendingpad.com. Or if someone wants to reach out to me, I'm Dan Smith. It's not hard. It's dan.smith@lendingpad.com. But thank you, everyone. We appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day.